Hey y'all, Bloodwing here, back to bring some grumpiness to your internet. And welcome back to Redneck Radio, the live stream where today you get an extra healthy side helping of, let's see, I know, orange Danish. I love those things. Fresh baked orange Danish. There's this kind that we get at the store. I think probably Pillsbury make them. They come in the WAP cans like the WAP biscuits, and oh, they're delicious. I could eat dozens and dozens of them. But I hope everybody's doing all right today. Look out in the chat. Jen's out there. Hey, Jen, how you doing? Jay Poitras did their part by shilling me in Satsu's and Alex's Discord. Ryan Rollins says he's just here to place his bet on the bladder only lasting 47 minutes. Hopefully it lasts longer than that because I just went just before the stream. Clinton Whitaker, tell the pharmacy crew I appreciate it and thank you. I'm always amazed that anybody, let alone the whole crew, but anybody cares anything about hearing what I have to say and what I think. Green Thunder Mighty, what's up? Gold City Johnny Blaze, Dad. Hey, blood. Well, it's possible. The 70s are a haze. Depends on how old you are. It's possible. Shio out, and I'm sure he's got some really bad jokes for us. And Clinda Cultus, hey. And Nuts is out in the chat. Hey, how you doing? Hope everybody's doing well. I'm doing okay. Jim Beam, howdy from Texas. How you doing? Clint Whitaker says, me and the crew love you out here. You talk like we do. Well, I understand that. And I hope that means a good thing. I just talk like I talk. Actually, my accent is a mix. It's a mix between Hoosier and Redneck. So, Sick Lindsay. Hey, Papa, how you doing, Lindsay? How's it going? But yeah, streaming today. As I said, Saturday, the last stream. This is probably the only stream I'm going to be able to get out this week because I am scheduled to work on Thursday and Saturday. So, yeah, glad for those that are able to come out and join us today. Don't have a guest so far, but we'll see what happens. Thought I'd just start it with little old me and see where it goes from there. Sorry, I was looking at something there for a minute. You know me, I can't do two things at once. But I'm feeling pretty good today. Actually, this is the first time in weeks that I've even felt the slightest bit rested. Hey, Jen, you're there. Your internets was down. Oh well, them dirty internets. But this is the first time in weeks that I've actually felt the slightest bit rested because I had the weekend off, and I am just starting another 2 days off before I have to work this weekend. But yeah, I had the weekend off, but I didn't really ever get rested because I spent the whole thing trying to catch up, trying to catch up from all the work that I'd been doing. And now that the scheduled hours are slowing down considerably, now that we're getting the other girl trained, this is my last week training her. But it's going well. I think she's going to be a good one. She's catching on to everything pretty quickly. Man, she is a cleaning maniac. If we got even a minute's downtime, she's got the sweeper out and the Windex and just cleaning everything. I'm like, she puts me to shame. She's on her cell phone a little more than I would like, but hey, that's the thing today. I guess that's the way people are. Uh, Cannibal Caretaker says, I would say toss Monkey an invite while he's not streaming. Uh, Cannibal Caretaker, Monkey gets a link every time I stream. Every stream I've ever done since I started Redneck Radio, Monkey gets a link. That's our agreement, and he shows up if he can, and if he can't, he doesn't. Cynical Lindsay, this is my work's cafeteria has a Mardi Gras theme, and they were selling vignettes. I want to eat the other one, but I promised the hubby I'd bring him one home. Well, you better keep your promise. She has Hitler's OCD. Just as I was like that when I worked, I didn't want to ever not be doing something because I would get bored. See, that's where I have the advantage. And I know you've people heard me say this before, and you may not believe it, but it's very true. I don't know that I've ever been bored in my entire life. I'm just, if I have, it's been very rare. And I will say that at the very least, it's very hard to get me bored because there's just too much going on in my mind all the time. I can sit and stare off into space and just disappear into my thoughts, and I'm perfectly fine. Doesn't bother me at all. Kyle says, well, that's done. Showed you out on the other Discord, on the Discord's others missed. Hey, well, thank you a lot. Thanks, everybody. Jen, do you want to invite? I'll shoot you one if you want one. And I'll wait. I know there's a delay. I'll wait to hear if what you say. I know it's hard to snap me out of if I do that. Sure. Okay. All right. Give me just a second to hop over onto Twitter and then find Jen. There we are. And oops. There we go. All right. Now we got it. It's sent, and I'll try to keep an eye out for you. But yeah, actually feeling a little bit rested and feeling a little better than I've felt for weeks. I've just been so exhausted, incredibly exhausted. Been a long time since I've been that tired. BW, hey man, how's everyone today? We're doing good. Six, how you doing? Kyle says, I prefer to be doing something when I'm at work. It makes the days go faster. Well, yeah, there's that. I do prefer to be busy. I do. But if I have nothing to do, I can deal with that too. It just, as you say, it does tend to make the day draw out faster or draw out slower, I guess the word would be. Whatever, you know what I mean. Jimmy Hess, hey all, but yeah, it has been a while. I haven't seen you in quite a while. I had a major surgery. Well, I hope everything turned out all right for you, Jimmy. Yeah, it's been quite a while since I've seen you out in the audience. Oh, I'll tell you what though, here for Indiana, because we can have really bad winters. We can. But this winter's been pretty easy. There's been those days here and there and whatnot, and but overall it's been pretty easy. But I tell you what, I am ready for spring. It is so rainy and nasty and gray outside today, and they're talking snow tomorrow. Not much, only like 3 inches, which for around here that's just a dusting, But hey,
yeah,
doing, Jen?
I'm doing good. That was weird though. Like I normally when you send me links, I just click on them and they open normally. And like I said, my potato's been giving me weird internet, so I did that and it was like no. So I was like, okay, well let's try this a different way. So I was like, okay, copy link to open a new window, and and then it worked. I'm like, oh, internet issues. It's something to do with their connection, and I imagine it's probably to do with the modem.
TOS this afternoon. No, I got called in early, pulling an 11-hour shift today. Oh, you poor fella. Keep me company while I get caught up on paperwork. Well, we'll do our best. We'll
Yes.
do our best. Because I know how that paperwork goes. Even in my current job, it has its paperwork. Uh, we even have a sheet we have to fill out for like, did you sweep the floor? Yes. Did you clean the glass counter? Yes.
Well,
Did you?
the only mission that I have for you Americans is to do everything you physically can to ensure that you do not get Bernie in as an elective. And
Oh, that I.
I'm saying this because if you are looking at all at what Trudeau is doing right now up in our country, Bernie is going to ask him to hold his keg.
Yeah. Well, I honestly just don't see that ever happening.
I don't either, but
I think Bernie is popular. Let's try that again. Popular enough to stay in the public limelight, but not near enough to get himself elected.
I do agree with you. It's just it's one of those things where like he keeps bringing up countries with socialism, and the thing is we weren't a socialist country. We are a country that has socialist programs that we pay
Yeah.
for,
Yeah.
and you guys aren't any different. You have socialist programs that you pay for, but these are things that you consented to as a group. And what they're doing up here, like it's actually been voted unconstitutional. Like we do have a constitution up here.
Yeah.
But they have been infringing on our rights for a really long time, and there's such a mess up here that it's unbelievable. Like I don't believe in the empty shelves. Like I think these are places that were probably doing inventory. And I know right now there are shortages on certain things because we have blockades across Canada right now, blocking our railroads, so our goods can't go anywhere. Because of this pipeline thing that's going on, and we've lost our tech mines. He's killed 200,000 jobs.
Mm.
It's just it's a huge mess.
I don't, as I've mentioned before, I know little to nothing about Canadian politics. When is it up that you can? When could he lose his seat?
So the thing is as a minority government, the thing is there's that vote of confidence, and the thing is they've blockaded us like we predicted that they would do, because the only party right now who could fight back is the Conservative. They've got the Greens and the NDP. Luckily, they didn't get that many seats, but with them backing them, he could stay in for his full term. So a full term in Canada is 4 years. So every 4 years we elect. But we're a little bit early to you guys. We're a year early to you guys. So we always know when your election's coming up because ours has just happened.
Right.
But right now, I don't like. He's doing a lot of things that are very criminal. All I know is like there are two extremes. There's the extremes that are fighting for our rights in the province, who are trying to either go the way of Quebec. And then there's the other extremes who are just like, we don't know what else to do other than to run you guys. Because
Cannibal Caretaker says, I still don't understand why a Jewish guy would want socialism after what happened in the 40s. Yeah, I mean, I get you. It is a wonder. But it's because for so many of these people, socialism is really a sickness.
They are absolutely a cult. Like their mentality is as a cult. Like the reason like the tech company left, I mean, part of the letter was stating the carbon climate and you know, but it was a 10-year project. They had gone green the entire way.
And don't get me wrong, I'm not against certain socialist programs, you know, if
me
that's
neither.
what you want to call them. I'm not, for instance, I'm not against our food stamps or whatever. It's not even called food stamps anymore because I bet they haven't used actual food stamps for a long while.
But these are all programs that you guys were all in agreement of.
Yeah, and we do pay for it.
You know, and you know where it's going. It's not that we as conservatives have a problem with socialist programs. We have a problem with how the money is spent.
Yeah.
That's always the problem.
I'm not like and that's a good example. I'm not against helping people that need the help, and are seriously trying to help themselves, but they can't quite get it done. They need a little hand up, and it's happened to all of us. Happened
Yeah.
to me. What I am against is it going to people that are just flat out lazy, don't want to
Yeah.
work, and they're gaming the system.
Well, like here's the irony of it. Like, I mean, we have these protesters. This is the funniest story that happened yesterday. It was so levels of stupid that it cheered me up.
Yeah.
But like the blockade that's going on in Ontario, I think the town is called Burnbream. And it's a native community, and no shame to them. Like, I mean, I understand that they have fears about what's going on. Maybe things aren't being explained to them properly. I don't even know if they're even native, because half the time it's a mix of both. Like, a couple natives and then a mass of white people who are supporting them. But they decided that to protest the climate, they decided to burn a truck full of tires. All day they were burning tires. So you could smell it from towns like hours away.
Oof. And that tires burn forever. There's a local landfill here.
Yeah.
I don't know if they ever got it put out, but there was a period of time where there was a constant fire going 24/7 because tires deep below the landfill, because it'd been there for years or several layers, had caught fire.
Yeah.
And
it's bad for it's absolutely the worst thing you can be burning effectively.
Yeah.
It's like fossil fuels to the max. And it was one of those things where like, do you really care about the environment?
Yeah.
They really don't. This isn't about the environment, guys. This is not about the environment, because anywhere that you see where the places where the pipes are, they're under the ground. They're under the roads. They're under farm fields.
Yeah. And there's not a blacker smoke than a tire fire. Trust me.
It was gross. Like, I felt for the other towns, because like you would be smelling that everywhere, and that is toxic. That is actually toxic. They they just promoted a lot of cancer in a lot of towns for a couple hours.
Cynical Lindsay, I take no issue with social programs helping people who literally need the help. It's just the milk system that I take issue with. And that's exactly my take. I mean, I'll be honest with you. There's been times in my life that we've actually had to be on assistance, have the food stamps and stuff. I don't know what else to call it, because I can't remember the name of it now. It's not called food stamps anymore. Way back in the day when I was a younger person, they actually gave you a book of stamps, like these big stamps that you gave the grocery store for your food.
Yeah.
But they don't do that anymore. It's like a debit card or something. But yeah, I mean, there's been times in my life that we've, for a month or two here, we needed some help, and it is part of the welfare system, Gulf City Johnny Blaze, but there's a particular name for the food stamp system. EBT, Bloodwing. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. But I'm not against people that really need the help, getting help.
Yeah. I'm against programs, though, that force your government to go, not your government, but your economy to go into a recession, because we are now going to be in another recession. And it's going to be bad. Like, we're already broke. We are already broke right now, because we've been stretching it out for the last 5 years. And now we have another 200,000 people who are unemployed. And that's going to spread, because that tech mine was going to go towards jobs for cars. It was going to go towards jobs for manufacturing. It was going to go for a lot of jobs. And now it's dead.
I'm sorry. I had to chuckle. I just looked down and noticed somebody give me a thumbs down, and I'm
Hi, Duck Dog.
Yeah, I'm trying to see if Duck Dog's somewhere nearby.
Hey. Not to cry about the woes. Like, it's not that bad yet. Like, I am doing good. Like, I just got groceries with my mom. The shelves weren't empty. It's just I have seen some towns that are like, yeah, our shelves are empty because the way we ship our stuff to market is through trains. Mm-hmm. It's through it's through trains and vehicles, and all of those require fuel, and they've blocked those roads. So,
Jen, I have slammed right through my first cup of coffee I got as I sat down, and so I need to get another cup real quick. I'm not even going to mute myself. That's how short it's going to take. So I'll be right back.
Yeah. Okay. No worries. Well, here's the thing, Cannibal Caretaker. We've actually had a group of guys up north who started taking down the garbage. Like they got a truck and they got permission to remove the debris. And one guy got hit in the neck by one of the protesters trying to reclaim their sacred garbage, which it is. It is sacred garbage. You know, all they did was take their signs and their garbage off the platform. They're just like, you know, you were killing people's jobs. Like our farmers can't get their grains to market. You know,
and
our
I'm
guys.
back just trying to get my earplugs in. Here we go.
I'm just sharing the woes, but I'll end that pretty soon because, like I said, we're not dead yet, but like we are furious down here, and like I said, that's the problem is we've got two ends of the spectrum of radicals, and they are putting us in that position where like I can understand that, you know, because
I got two thumbs down now. So I'm thinking it's Cryptic and Duck Dog.
One of them's been challenged.
And you all know I don't care. It's all interaction. It's all, you know, doggone. You know, I might care if it was all thumbs down and no thumbs up, but because I'm not sure what that does to your algorithm, but you know, you're not gonna hurt my feelings.
But all I'm saying is Bernie looks like an advanced version of Trudeau, and that would terrify me if I was an American. So I mean, I do believe you. I do believe your opinion too.
Yeah,
there's no chance in hell.
I have a hard time getting too excited about Bernie because, like I said, I think he does have a popularity. He's certainly in the public eye, you know, and he made it pretty far in the last election until he got, you know, Pearl Harbored by Hillary. And her lot, but I don't think he's got enough to win an election, and especially not right now.
No,
I've actually had some personal conversations here where I live.
Okay.
And even though I live in a blue city, which most high population areas are blue, if you look at a map, they are, you know, liberal, but it's in the middle of a very red state. So most of the people around here are of a like mind as I am, you know, of a conservative bent, at least in some form or another. And there's been some talk. What do you think about Trump and this, that, and the other? And of course, my personal opinion, as I've stated before, is I think he's all right. I don't think he's the worst president we've ever had. I don't think he's the best president I've ever had. But I will say this. I can't see any policy that he's instituted so far that I could really argue with much. I mean, because of where I work and what I do, I've got a little issue with the 21 smoking age. But other than that, you know, I can't pick at it. I think he's a clown sometimes. I think he needs a 24/7 assistant to tell him, no, Mr. President, don't hit send on that tweet. But yeah,
I mean, I admit I enjoyed that. I mean, I know it's not good necessarily a good show for the president, but
he cracks me up. I follow him on Twitter just for the laughs.
That's just it. Like it's nice to see a sense of humor in somebody. Yeah. And the thing is he's got a bit of an old school New Yorker sense of humor too, which I get that entirely. You know, and the thing is like, you know, when he exaggerates stuff, I always just picture the world's greatest car salesman, you know?
Yeah.
I'm like, how can anybody misunderstand what he's doing?
I think Necrosol has the right of it, and that's exactly my opinion. Trump is an ass, but not a bad president. Exactly.
I would 100% trade him for Trudeau any day, and you would get the bad end of the deal. I'm just saying.
My point, what I'm trying to get at, when I started, and I know sometimes I'm the kind of guy, you ask me what time it is, I'm going to tell you how to build a watch. I take a long way around to get to the point. My point is, I don't see anybody beating Trump right now, period. Anybody, unless you can pick on his policies.
No. I mean, the one guy who's interesting, and I get why everybody hates him,
Yeah.
will be Mike Bloomberg, because I get the feeling he's just gonna play dirty. Like it's one of those things that Monkey said that, like, yeah, he is a New York politician, and they do play really dirty. I just want to see what he does, because I could see him absolutely tearing apart the Democratic Party with it, and that's fine. I'm okay with that, because they need the criticism. I don't know anything about Mike. I've got bad opinions of him based off of stuff that I've heard from Monkey, and stuff from, some of the stories that have come out. But I don't have that history of him. So that's what I'm watching. I'm paying attention to. But at the same time, though, I have no problems with the guy coming in and giving some valid criticism to some people who deserve it. And I don't know if they'll listen to him, but there's the hope that at least maybe they will. And I don't have a problem with it coming from this guy. Now, whether or not I would vote for him yet again, I don't know the guy. Like, he seems like he's got a bit of a shady history, so probably not. It's like, oh, well, I'm going to show everybody else's dirt, but I want to see your dirt too, because
To be honest with you, I've only voted Democrat for president once in my entire life.
Yeah.
And that was, and I'm ashamed to say it now because hindsight's 2020. That was Obama's first term.
Yeah.
I did not vote for him on his second term.
Well, he's still a very eloquent guy. Like, he's a very good speaker. He's very capable of putting on the charm. He's very intelligent. But you know what? I can see that he's done things that weren't good. And I don't see that that's a problem to acknowledge that there's some things that he did when he was in office that wasn't good.
However, I'm very proud to say, and this would probably get flack in some circles and from some people, the very first presidential election I ever voted in was 1980. And yes, I voted for Reagan. And I'm proud of it. You can say what you want about Reagan and some of the things that happened under his presidency, but I had more money in my pocket. And yeah, Shio, I'm hearing the echo too, a little, just slightly, just a little bit of echo.
Is that me? Because it could be me.
It might be. Yeah, it might be. Pretty sure it's not me because I got earbuds in my microphone, so I don't see how I could be getting an echo unless there's a software.
Like, I know I've got the Redneck off, so that one's good. Twitter, I don't have anything there, so I'll close that anyway.
Yeah.
Might as well. It's a thing with my internet. Like, I had it shut down. Like, it's just something to do with the box, I think. But it did that last week, and all my passwords reset on. Like, I mean, not like Twitter type passwords, but like anything to do with access to my computer changed. So it was like, well, I mean, at least I got in, but.
Yeah. But anyway, politics aside, we done our due diligence and we talked to politics. Politics aside, as I was, did you vote for HW? You talking about Bush? I did. Yes. And I kind of, it was a situation of, I don't think he's the best person for the job. I mean, let me rephrase that. He was the best person for the job at the time. Couldn't stand Clinton, and there was no way that I wanted his VP in there. So I voted for Bush. Yes. Just to shorten it. But at any rate, as I was saying a few minutes ago, it's just so dreary around here. I look out here, the sun's barely shining through the clouds. It's rained all day yesterday. And now they're talking 3 inches of snow by the time I've got to go pick up my granddaughters in the morning. Of course, it'll be at that time. I'm ready for spring. And this is not a bad winter. It's been a real easy winter for us here in Indiana. Yeah, not that much snow, Yeah.
I'd say the same. I'd say most of my complaints this winter has really just been the way that it's kind of run off, because it hasn't been warm enough to really properly melt everything. So
Yeah.
it's always been in a state of like in between melt. So you get like the snow that you make paths on, and then you've got like ice everywhere.
Well, our winter here has been weird.
Mm.
We'll get 3 days of just freezing weather, just
Mhm.
bitter cold. And then 3 days later, it'll be in the 40s and 50s Fahrenheit. It just goes from one extreme to the other. I'm like, good God, no wonder everybody's sick.
I feel like you guys are getting a little bit of that Chinook effect that we get, because that is what Chinooks do. Like it'll be, a couple days of minus. Well, for us it's minus 10 for Celsius, so I think that's like 10, 20 Fahrenheit.
Sleepy doodle asks if I've been keeping up with the coronavirus news. Not hardcore, just in passing. I'll look at a article here and there. If it get, I'm. Let me explain me, and most of you know. Hey, Pat, most of you know this. It's hard to get me fired up about anything. I think that's why Alex likes me so bad, so good, because I just don't get all excited about. And by all excited, I mean all been out of shape. If it's gonna get here, it's gonna get here. And all the work by all the authorities and all the experts to shut down the borders and keep it out aren't going to do anything to keep it out. So why worry about it? I'll worry about it if I get sick. Some of you may not understand that, but that's just my outlook. If I get it, then I'll worry about it. Or somebody I care about gets it, I'll worry about it. But
well, up here, it's kind of been a little bit of a spook. There's some people who are kind of doubling down and like, bulking up on stuff, because we don't trust our government to handle anything at this point. But it's not really that's concerning. It's more of the fact that the media has pushed this narrative that every Canadian is afraid of Asian people now, because we think all Asian people have the coronavirus. And I'm like, no, if you come in with a mask, I'm going to naturally be a little bit concerned, because those hospital masks are meant to help prevent you from spreading.
Yeah, I'm more concerned about the more readily apparent problems.
Yeah.
I'm a cashier, so I handle everyone's money.
Yes.
And if you've ever done that, you know that money is extremely dirty.
Exactly.
So several times a day, and I've had people stand in front of me, hand me their money while they're hacking up a lung, and so I keep a big bottle of hand sanitizer close to the cash register.
Yeah. So I'm gonna just say, for one thing, if I see an Asian on the street, I'm not screaming in terror.
Nah.
I'm usually smiling, nodding my head, and then walking my own way. Now, if you're not feeling good and you sneeze, I might say bless you, and hope that you get better.
I don't want the regular flu, just the plain old every day. I don't want to be sick. And knock on wood, I have not been sick yet this year, which is unusual for me. But I think part of that is because I don't have grandkids living with me anymore like I did for years. Now everybody knows kids are little petri dishes.
Yes, they are. now, at the same time, do I want my government to crack down on it and make sure that they do the best they can to help not spread it if it's this deadly? Yes, I would appreciate that, because I don't want anyone to get sick.
Sure. Yeah, sure. And in answer to your question, Deck Train, we don't have a Chinatown per se. What we have is an area of town, and I don't know that it's got a name, but it's an area of town where a lot of East Asians live. And by that, I mean Laotian, Vietnamese, people from Thailand, that area. There is an area of town where a lot of those people from there live. But as far as a Chinatown, no, not really.
It takes a little bit longer for them to really do something like that, and even whether or not they want to.
Yeah, and here in Indianapolis, we're a little bit too far out of the beaten path to have an area of town like that. I mean, Chicago does, and Chicago's only a 4-hour drive for me, but we're basically, Indiana's basically a flyover state. The only reason anyone ever wants to come here is for the Indianapolis 500 race. And that's about it. So speaking of coronavirus, virus, I just read Sonic the Hedgehog has banked over $200 million
Mhm.
worldwide and has yet to be released in China. Rip Birds of Prey.
And deservedly so. And honestly, why are they pitting themselves against a children's movie? Like, don't get me wrong. Like, I get that most. I know that adults are going to go see it, but at the same time, though, like that's your movie is so crap that you're pitting yourself against a children's movie.
Yeah. TOS says try being a hotel within walking distance of a strip club. I hate touching $1 bills, especially when I'm handed the entire bill in ones. I know how you feel. You don't want to touch that tuck money, huh? But we are next door to a bar, a redneck bar. So we got that. And Josephine says, I've worked in a gas station and nasty buggers who come in, lick their fingers before they give you money, even now. Yep, they sure do. And I make great pains to try to grab those bills from where they didn't touch it with their licked fingers.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, they do that. I'm like,
yeah, I think the worst ones for me are the ladies that bring the bills out from their panties. I've only seen one once. I've heard at least
I
two
haven't
stories.
had that yet.
Yeah, there's some places you shouldn't put those ladies, and that is one of those places. And gentlemen, if the lady is pulling the bills from out of her coochie, don't put your thing in there. I'm just saying it's gonna end badly for you, and burn a lot.
Yeah, but money's very dirty and very physically dirty. If you
Yes.
handle a lot of money, your fingers will get dirty. You look down,
Yep.
your hands are all dirty. And you're like, how my hand gets dirty? It's from that money. Money's filthy, filthy lucre. But yeah, we keep a big bottle of hand sanitizer nearby, and I'm over there quite often. And I'm not anal about that kind of thing. I'm not the kind of guy that every day of my life and, even at home, I'm running and hitting hand sanitizer all the time. Those type germaphobes. I'm not a germaphobe. But when somebody's standing there hacking up a lung and snot's running down to their chin and they're handing me their money, I'm going to go hit the hand sanitizer as soon as I get them out of there.
Yeah.
And be sure not to touch my face before I do so.
Yeah.
uh,
Yeah, it's one of those things where up here, one of those little movements that happened. I'm not even sure if it was 10 years ago or so, but like it was this trend of making sure that you taught yourself and your kids to sneeze into your sleeve, because you're less likely to spread germs from your sleeve. Like you're not going up to a doorknob with your sleeve.
right.
So it's like the germs are more likely to die in your clothes than they are on your hands. And then you go and you throw your clothing into the wash and bye germs. Now that doesn't mean that you shouldn't use the hand sanitizer. I would anyway, just because like a sneeze can spray anywhere.
Sure. I have a bad habit of suppressing my sneezes. When I sneeze, I'll squeeze my nose tight to where, nothing comes out. And I know that's not good for you physically. It can cause problems, but I usually don't have Kleenex on me, and I don't want snot all over my face, and and I usually try not to sneeze because I'm that kind of person that if I sneeze once, I'm not going to stop until I've sneezed at least a dozen times. It'll set me off. But,
I have odd allergies too. Like it's an every other year kind of deal. I will have one year where everything sets me off, and so I moved into this apartment where like the first 6 trees in front of me like to shed yellow powder.
Yeah, and since we're on thumbs down watch, we are now at 3.
Oh, who is 3?
I don't know, because Cryptic and Duck Dog's the only 2 that I can think of that I know for sure would do such a thing. I don't know who the third is.
At least confess so I can tease you for it.
There's 4. Yeah, if you guys are gonna thumbs me down, at least be honest about it and tell me who it was, so I can laugh at you.
He was a good boy. He's honest.
Yeah. He says, I'll reverse mine. Oh, you guys kill me. You crack me up. It cracked me. Of course, it's not as bad as you guys know because I've talked about it a million times. One of my guilty pleasures on YouTube is watching music reaction videos.
Mm.
I do get a kick out of that. I enjoy it. Now, not all of them. Some of them are just so over the top. Oh my God, this is the best song I've ever heard. Some, white kid in his early 20s. And oh my God, where have I been? This is great. And you know that. Shut up. I like the honest ones, the ones that are honest about the reviews. But I also will, just like earlier today, I was piddling around. I come home and I didn't feel like doing much. So I was, I play The Sims 3. And as I mentioned to Monkey the last time he was on the stream, that game turns me into a 10-year-old girl playing dress up with her Barbies. Because I go to the Sims resource and I will just download outfit after outfit after outfit. Oh, that's pretty. I'll get that. And it's mostly women's outfit because on that site, the men's outfits suck.
They always do.
They must think that we're all gay.
Yeah.
Because they're seriously gay outfits, And there actually is outfits for cross dressers, like a mini skirt and high heels for the guys. I'm like, no, not for me. If that's your thing, go ahead, but no, not for me.
You're not wrong.
But
it's all women who download it too.
Yeah. So I'm downloading stuff. I wasn't downloading outfits. I was patterns. Patterns like designs you can change and put on your walls, or like if you've got a sweater on one of your people and you can change it to this design, that kind of thing. I was looking at the patterns. While I was doing that, I was listening to some music videos, rock and roll, And I look at some of these classic rock and roll, and there's like all these thumbs down on it. I'm like, gee, what are these Justin Bieber fans? You feel the need to go out of your way to go to this music video just to give it a thumbs down because it wasn't your generation? Is that what it is? Morons. Hey, Maddie.
Hi, Maddie.
Reversed. Yeah, but it went up. I think it got to 7 at the height, but it's going back down. I've been watching it. I've been watching it while you guys are playing with the thumbs down button. Maddie says, is it possible to get a headache from apartment hunting? It's possible to get a headache from anything. But I will tell you this, Maddie, I haven't lived in an apartment since my wife and I were very first married. The first year we were married, we lived in an apartment. We've never have since. But I hate moving with a passion. I'd rather take a beating than move. So I'll tell you, I understand. This is kind of off topic, but my daughters, I was taking them to school this morning, and you can tell the days are getting longer. Spring is coming. I'm just getting impatient. Spring is coming because the days are getting longer. It's not getting dark now till almost 7 o'clock at night, which it was getting dark by between 5 and 5:30.
Man, you guys get it early. I'm so jelly.
And it's the sun's coming up by about 7:30 to 7:45, somewhere in that area. And but anyway, we were on the way and they were laughing at me because I don't know if you all know it. I know some of you do, but I wear false teeth, or at least on the top. I have false teeth on the top. And most people don't know it unless I tell them that, because you can't hear it from my speech, and I have a very good set that you can't see it. I don't have one of those sets of false teeth that makes my mouth look like they're just full of nothing but teeth. You know the kind I'm talking about. You've seen them. Y'all have seen them. You can admit it. You've seen the people that it's so obvious they're wearing false teeth because there's nothing but teeth in that mouth. Anyway, my mouth got sore, which happens sometimes because my teeth were shifting. I needed to take them out, brush them and everything, and I just didn't. And so when I got home from work last night, I took my teeth out and soaked them, and I didn't have time to put them in when I got up this morning. My granddaughters have never seen me without my teeth. I never go without them. I just don't. I do not. And but I did this morning, and they were laughing at me because of the way I was talking, because I didn't have any upper teeth, so I was talking like this, you know.
Oh, that's great. They probably loved it.
Oh, they did. They thought it was funny. They thought it was hilarious. But yeah, I don't. Like I said, I don't. You will almost never uh, see me without my teeth because I just don't. First of all, it's a little embarrassing for me. You know, I've had false teeth since I was 24. It was much more embarrassing in the early days because I was young. You
Yeah.
know, than it is now that I'm nearly 60. But uh, it's straight system. It's snowing here in Albuquerque, New Mexico. That's headed your way. BW. Yep, I know it's headed. The radio was saying we're supposed to get an inch to 3 inches starting at about 8 o'clock in the morning, which will be while I'm out driving, taking the girls to school. Of course, it has to be while I'm out driving because the weather knows that I hate driving in the snow worse than anything. Makes me nervous wreck. But anyway, yeah, they got a big kick out of it. And of course, our family, that's just the way we are. We pick and laugh at each other. And, and I was playing up. What do you think? You're laughing at me? Huh? You laughing at me?
Yeah. Yeah, I totally get that. Yeah, my grandfather was kind of the same. Like I mean, well, mind you, he was older at the time. Like I just remember being a young child and like he would never feel comfortable with his teeth being out. But every once in a while, like as he got older, he'd forget, and I'd be like, "Listen, I'll be there someday too. So like, don't worry about it."
Mine stay in my mouth even when I sleep, except for when I'll take them out and brush them and then put them right back in. And but sometimes if you all out there have false teeth, you know what I'm talking about. Sometimes your mouth gets sore. It just happens. And because they'll rub the wrong way or something, they get a little loose and they rub or whatever. And that's the way mine got. I had to take them out because I couldn't take it anymore. It hurt.
Yeah.
And I think part of the reason is I do have some real teeth left on the bottom, and I've had a toothache for the last couple of weeks off and on. So I've been chewing on the other side of my mouth. Well, with false teeth, you have to relearn to chew. You have to learn to chew on both sides of your mouth at the same time, which is hard to do because by habit, we human beings will chew on one side or the other.
Yeah.
Can't do that with false teeth because you'll flip them out. Puts too much pressure on one side of them. But because of the toothache, I've been chewing on one side of my mouth, and it was probably caused the one side to get loose a little bit. But anyway, not talk about my false teeth. I just thought that was cute that they were laughing at me. TOS is the last time I've been in real snowfall where I live is 1989. Yeah, we haven't had a lot of snow. I think we've only had about 3, maybe 4 real snowfalls this winter so far. And I think the biggest one was maybe 5 inches. And that may sound a lot to some of you, depending on where you live. But for here in Indiana, that's not a lot. 5 inches is nothing. I don't even shovel my walk for 5 inches. I just trudge through it,
Well, we're kind of at the time of the year where we kind of do a catch up on our snow. So it's going to be probably another 2 to 3 weeks of like, we will have days where it'll melt, but it'll still be like a consistent, at least like inch or two. At least every other day you'll get like an inch or two. And it's not that bad. Like I said, it does melt fairly quickly because we'll still have the odd day where, it'll be almost 1, or 2. So, I mean, that's like what, 30, almost 35, so it's fairly warm. Like you're walking into a cooler that's actually a little bit warmer than it should be, technically.
Yeah, what we've been getting here the last few weeks, and it's typical for February in Indiana, is what they call a wintry mix. It'll be snow, freezing rain, and sleet mix. So what you end up with is a slush, which is very dangerous on the roads. It's very dangerous on the roads, but it disappears very quickly on the ground. But it just comes out of slush kind of thing, you know. It's nasty.
Yeah.
It's terrible. You know, it seeps all in your shoes and everything else while you're walking around, and just forget about even washing your car until the thaw. And usually we're good for at least one ice storm, which we haven't got yet in February. Um, and it wouldn't hurt my feelings if we don't get one this year, because I hate ice storms. They're pretty because everything gets covered in, you know, half an inch to an inch of ice, and that makes it very pretty. But Lord, it's a pain in the butt. Uh,
Yeah. As somebody who understands hail, yeah. Not quite the same, but yeah. Different kind of ice.
Picasso says they just announced we're looking at a foot of snow by Thursday morning over here. Also, good afternoon. Well, I hate to hear that, but better you than me. I'm sorry. I don't want it. I hate snow. I swear I hate snow. Atheist Icon says all the trees around me are throwing their DNA at each other. It's worse than an adult video. Yeah. Yeah. Well, ours haven't got to that point yet.
Yeah, we've got a warm snap kicking in over the next week. So let me change that to Fahrenheit. So yeah, for right now it's like 33 out. By next Thursday it'll be 43. So yeah, we're pretty warm.
That's about where we're at, about 43. We're in the low 40s here right now, but it's supposed to drop down below 32, which is freezing by tomorrow morning.
See,
for those of you not on Fahrenheit, 32 degrees is freezing. That's the point at which water freezes.
This Chinook thing. Just saying. It's one of those things where I feel for Pink right now, because like I'm sitting here in lovely Alberta, and I know he's probably sitting there. Jen, you +6 cunt.
Sheograph asks, speaking of adult videos, you hear about Spielberg's daughter? No, I haven't heard anything about them. Did she do an adult video? Did she? Or, I don't know. In communist Russia, snow hates you. Yeah, well,
General Winter likes to sleep in your bed. You know,
yeah, it's mutual in my case. My mom used to love the snow. She wouldn't get out in the wintertime, but she loved to look at it. Mm-hmm. And she'd say, "Oh, isn't it pretty? Isn't it?" No, Mom, it's not pretty. I look at the snow now that I'm an adult, and I see slide offs and bad traffic and tow bills and fender benders and all that nasty stuff. No, it's not pretty, Mom. But
yeah, see, for me, I think the thing with me is as a child, I never really had proper building snow. Like every once in a blue moon, we would have a year where we would have like massive dumps. And even then, it's nothing compared to the rest of the country. So like you'd see pictures from Ontario and Saskatchewan, and people are building forts and trees and like townspeople full of snowmen and, you know, that kind of shit. And I'm like, I got a snow puppy. Because that's the amount of snow that I could clump together enough to make, you know. It's not that we can't make snowmen. It's just we don't have a lot of snow to do proper building. And that was the thing I liked about snow, is I liked, you know, if you bundle up properly and you can keep yourself warm and comfortable, and, you know, you go in and you drink something warm. I liked building stuff, because that's the one of those things where my creativity would come out. And
I loved it as a kid. I loved it. Every kid loves playing in the snow.
Like every once in a while, that's the part, like I would want to do it, but at the same time I wouldn't want to do it for longer than 10 minutes, you know.
And also, you know, as a kid you're praying, yay, it's snowing, maybe they'll close school, yay, you know. But then you get to be an adult, and you know that as an adult it doesn't work that way. Your workplace doesn't close down, and you're expected to get there anyway, and you've got to drive those roads. So,
Well, I mean, yeah, Pink, like you guys do have a lot of snow. I mean, it does make sense that you would have more, but at the same time, though, you're not BC either. Like BC is also kind of like that weird place because of the Bear Lakes, and the way that it just kind of has that trap of warmer air, you know. And then there's us in the middle. There's Canada, you know. Alberta's just like half, you know, like you go up north and they're not happy up north during the winter. They're like, yeah, this is fucking gay. Excuse my language. I shouldn't say that. But at the same time, that's what they're thinking, because you're not doing a lot. I mean, you're doing stuff, but you're not doing a lot. And then you come down here and we have these Chinooks. We have legit Chinooks, but they do have a price. Like, you know, it's a real thing where they're, you know, if you suffer from headaches or like you know, have pains, like people with arthritis, it's actually pretty bad for arthritis, because you feel it. Like it's actually stressful on the body because of the way it's contained.
Yeah. Carlo mentions the lake effect. I do know about that. I mean, my state does at the north border on Lake Michigan, but my city's far enough south that we don't experience that here. We don't get the lake.
Well, I'm sympathizing with you, Pig. That's what I'm saying. I'm neither disagreeing with you or agreeing with you. I'm sympathizing because it's one of those things where I do acknowledge that that's always been a thing. Most of the problems that I have with the winter is just how we're implementing things. It's one of those little cut things where I can appreciate some cuts and I can not appreciate certain cuts. And it's one of those things where like the roads aren't really being cleaned properly at all. And I get that most roads in major cities clean themselves. Like you've got enough traffic that they do. Like you literally are driving on and up to.
That's one good thing I got to say about Indianapolis here where I live is that they're on top of the snow. I mean, if snow's in the forecast, they've got their entire fleet.
Yeah.
And I think, and I'm not making this up, I'm pretty sure they have 60 or 62 trucks, salt trucks with plows on the front in their fleet. That entire fleet will be out ahead of it, you know. And so they're pretty good about keeping the roads clear as possible. Of course, that doesn't do anything for that black ice, you know, and that's a whole nother story. But yeah.
And that's been a lot of what my major complaint is like, and I get it. Like we snow so infrequently that like there's no plan for it. Like they're just ready. Like at all times they're ready, but just most of the time it doesn't necessarily snow. But like it's really difficult to walk if you are a pedestrian, and it's one of those things where I'm not meaning to cry about that, but I don't have a problem with walking anywhere.
Well, now, like in my neighborhood, they don't clear the roads. There's a couple of roads that are designated. I forget what they call it, but they will be cleared. Yeah, because they'll lead to a school or something. Like if a road leads to a school, they'll clear that. But all the side roads, my neighborhood here doesn't get cleared off. So you're on your own getting out if you get much snow. But
see, the thing is here is like even those aren't seeing anything.
Sure. Just to say, Maddie, I will send you a link. However, it's that time that the old man has to go to the bathroom. I'll send you a link as soon as I get back because I'm sitting here doing the pee-pee dance in my chair, and that's not good. That's not good. So, Jen, I will be right back, and the stream is yours for a moment.
No worries. I'll do my best to hold the fort. Yeah, that's BC for us, Maddie. If they get like what is it, like an inch of snow, they freak out. Bring in the military. Oh my God, we can't go anywhere. The whole island shuts down. We're just sitting there like, really? I mean, at least we wait until we're up to our. You know, we at least wait until it's hitting our butts before we start to maybe we should close the schools for the morning. I don't know. It doesn't happen very often. Like, you know, you go into certain places, like I said, Ontario, definitely. I'm not meaning to pick on Ontario. It's just like every time I've seen it's either Halifax in the Maritimes, Quebec or Ontario. And you see some horror stories of like snow up to like, you know, the second floor. And it's just, it's sympathy is what's saying. But there's also the part of me who's like, an underground snow city, man. That's what we need up in Canada. We need an underground snow city. Yeah, exactly. That's all it is. It's just like when you get that kind of snow and there's really, what are you going to do? Like, maybe you can build with something to try to protect your walls, like, but I guess go back to cobblestone, guys. That's what you should do. That's what you should do. Cobblestone. I don't know if that would work. I'm just bullshitting ideas because I just think of the water damage. That's literally I've lost an apartment to a flood before. 2005. It's not like anywhere, like everyone has problems. Let's be real. We all have shit that's happened before. Yeah. So like Calgary has had 2 pretty massive floods. My first one was in 2005, and that was an interesting surprise because I was on holiday with my mom for like the first time in like ever in Europe, and I come home and like, yeah, your cat was like up to his feet in water, sitting on a windowsill, and my aunt waded in her boots to save my cat, and so yeah, that was yeah, I understand the that whole sometimes the world can give you shit.
Ryan Rollins must have missed his. Yeah, I think he betted 47 minutes and he missed it. I went 58. And
Rick!
there's Maddie. How you doing, Maddie?
Hi, Maddie.
Doing all right.
Oh, and the pupper got in on the act already. I shall be heard.
12 pounds and she thinks she's so vicious. I swear. Oh my god.
I can see that, BJ. Yeah, you're the different kind of dry zone. Like we're dry where I am, but like, yeah. I think I can handle it though. Like, I mean, at least you've got enough, like, what is it? Hotels everywhere with like indoor cooling.
Yeah.
It's not like you can't stay cold in Las Vegas, but yeah, it's one of those things where at least it's a dry heat. I just can't handle high humidity for long.
Yeah, humidity is sucky. I mean, when I used to live in Georgia, we used to call we rated the rain storms. It was did it really rain? Oh crap, it's raining, and oh shit, we're not going anywhere today.
Yeah.
And the did it rain was when it would rain for like 5 minutes, just long enough to bring all the heat out of the tarmac of the street.
Oh yeah, well that happens here in the summertime. It'll rain just long enough to make it unbearably muggy. And that's, I hate that. I hate that. If it's gonna rain, then rain and cool things off.
Yep.
Well, it's one of those things where I do mean to try to force myself to encounter a little bit more high humidity, not because I want it, but it's one of those things where when I do go to places, like if I visit Ontario, I just die from the allergies because I'm not used to breathing in that thick of an air. And so the allergies react completely differently too.
Well,
so yeah.
It's pretty much a fact that the Midwest here where I live is the absolute worst place you can live if you have hay fever or like allergies. And of course, I grew up with hay fever, so because the pollen here is terrible.
Yeah. Yeah, it's one of those things where like I keep meaning to not be, like I said, it's one of those things where I do believe in trying to boost my system somewhat. But I do that with BC. Well, at least I used to with my parents, because like they decided that instead of going for holidays in their retirement, they would get a second home in BC, which they no longer have because they decided that shit's kind of going weird in Canada. But it was nice to go out there every once in a while because the middle of BC, it's a little bit of a different climate. It's a different kind of green. Everywhere across Canada is green, but it's a different kind of green. And it was just nice to get away from the city, and it's just on a lake and it's in the middle of nowhere, and it's a beautiful place. My mom gardens all the time, and I pay for my holiday by helping her.
Yeah. Now I have seen firsthand what BG was saying about Vegas earlier. I've not been to Vegas, but when my oldest daughter was stationed in Yuma, Arizona, we were driving across. We landed in Phoenix, and then it had to drive all the way south to Yuma. And on the drive, we're going through the desert, and it started to rain. One of those rare desert rains, and the traffic went to a standstill. And I'm like, what are you people doing? It's just rain. It's just rain. But they had no clue how to drive in it. I was like, move over and let me by.
Yeah, it's like this apartment, honey. There's one apartment that I found. Ronan sent 8 links. Now, there was one apartment that I literally responded to him in DMs going, no, I'm not living within 5 minutes of the cemetery. That's not happening. Nope.
See, and this is why I want to fight for my province so bad. It's like when people describe their weather, I'm looking at mine, I'm like, you know what? I will take the odd cold day. Because our summers are very mild. Like you have maybe 3 weeks where you might have an intense heat wave, but the rest of the summer is fairly mild. You do have some rain. Like, I mean, the thing is, it doesn't rain so fiercely all the time. Like it's just periodically because where we are, we're situated around mountains and prairies, and it's a mix. You're going to get a mix of everything. And that's my province. But it's kind of this nice balance. Like I think the worst thing we've ever really had was like tornadoes and the floods. And now that it's not even that we weren't aware of them. It's just one of those things where you elect people into government who cut funding for certain things, and then shit happens and you're like, oh, why did you cut the funding for that? And it's like, well, we haven't had to use it for years. And you're like, yeah, I understand that, but you should at least have a backup call just in case.
Our pirate dog.
Yep.
Where's your eye patch, Ruby Sue?
Yeah, we haven't gotten one for it yet. We're still working on it. the 12-pound attack dog, the hidden bosky crouching pity. So,
We had I had one of my regular customers at the smoke shop come in the other day, and he had an eye patch on, which he didn't have before. Me being me, I couldn't help myself. What's wrong with your eye? Did you hurt it, or are you practicing to be a pirate? He just laughed and said, no, there's something wrong with it. I don't know what.
There's one apartment he linked me to that we might be in trouble if we decide that we're going to go to the apartment and see if we qualify for it, because it's like within a 5-minute drive of a Dave & Buster's.
Yeah.
So you're talking Fahrenheit, cynical Lindsay. I was talking in Celsius. So like when I'm saying 135, like I'm not sure. I think that's like what, 70?
Yeah. I would hate to see what you come up with, Maddie, if you put my zip code in, and because you'd probably go, "Oh my God, I ain't living there."
Well, it's like we did. There was a couple of people that have been DMing me that said the south of where we're looking to move to, the south of Arlington, is not bad. It's just the north Arlington is what you got to watch out for. So he aimed for south, and we found some good places, and all the places that he found have at least. Or within a biking distance of a dog park or two, so I can actually get her out of the house. So if that would mean training her on how to ride a bike.
My neighborhood here has never been great, right? Yeah. And if you mention my neighborhood, which I'm not going to say the name here because it will tell people exactly where I live if they're familiar with Indianapolis, but if you mention the name, they're like, oh, you live there, huh? So it's never been the greatest, but it's getting even worse. Lately, the last couple of years, I've been watching business after business just move out. Yeah. The White Castle shut down. Different restaurants have shut down. I think the local Kroger's getting ready to shut down because their selection has been crap for months now. Oof. The shelves are empty, and that sucks because there's been a Kroger here for ever since I can remember. Yeah. Ever since I was a little bitty kid. So yeah, stuff's kind of folding up and moving out. The dollar store,
It's like I can't remember now that I'm active on both accounts, or at least trying to be. I can't remember where I put the additions to my wish list. But since we're looking for places that are within biking distance, I actually put a bicycle, a pair of saddlebags, and a bicycle helmet on the wish list. I may wind up putting a regular basket on there and teaching somebody how to ride a bike if I'm going to take her to the dog park, which would be interesting.
Yeah. Oh, I couldn't ride a bike on a bet. A few years ago, this was before my surgery, of course, which made a difference. But I got brave and thought I'd ride a bicycle down to the local store, which is only about 2 blocks away, to get a pack of cigarettes and come back. And yeah, I got about halfway there and instantly regretted it. By the time I got back, and I'm talking only 2 blocks there and 2 blocks back, I could barely walk. Like, yeah, my bike riding days are done.
Yeah. It's like they keep here where we're at now, they keep changing like some of their policies and stuff. And it's like we know Ronan and I have discussed it, and it's like they're trying to get a better class of tenant into this particular area, like possibly middle to high income and stuff. I don't think they're going to do it because having worked with my mother, who used to be in real estate, when the only thing within walking distance that is of any note is a Planet Fitness, a Whataburger, and a Family Dollar, you're not going to get anybody worth the salt in this particular neighborhood with a middle to high income. There's nothing
Yeah.
to attract them.
Well, good luck to you. I wish you luck. If like I said, I would rather take a beating, literally take a beating than move. I hate moving.
Well, staying here, I don't like moving either, but staying here and in the neighborhood that we're in now, I'm literally afraid to walk anywhere because at least 3 to 4 times a week I'm hearing police sirens outside the window.
Ooh.
Only 3 and 4 times a week.
Only well, sometimes a little bit more than that, but every weekend like clockwork at least. They're here, or I see the cops rolling through the apartment complex on a daily basis, and it's like,
I'm not lying and not exaggerating. Almost every day we hear the sirens. If there's a day we don't have sirens, it's rare around here. But I live in a neighborhood full of redneck white trash, so yeah, that kind of goes hand in hand. And the local meth shipment must have come in lately because they sure been coming out of the woodwork. The tweakers have been coming in my shop, looking at the glass pipes.
Yeah. Well, I mean, here it's you step out, especially on the weekend. I'll step out with her because you got to take her out potty. She can't do it in the apartment. And after about 6:30, 7 o'clock in the evening, when you go to take her out for her evening potty break, you smell a familiar aroma. That's all I'm going to say.
Oh, yeah. In fact, it was just yesterday we had somebody come in, and they had obviously been smoking pot. You just reeked of it. And it wasn't even the good stuff. It was skunk weed because it stunk like a skunk. High heaven. And as soon as they left, our manager got the incense out because we sell incense, but she grabbed a stick of incense and fired it up and is waving it around all over the shop. It's like, oh, no, they don't just, the tweakers do come in. I had a woman last weekend that came in. I think she just wanted somewhere to hang out for a while because she had nowhere to go, because she did buy a can of butane, to refill your butane lighters. But she was in the shop for like an hour working around. But yeah. Meth, not even once.
Nope. Not interested. Not even. No. Pot is the only one that I've done that I was.
Oh, I've done a lot of things and a lot of different drugs, not just pot, but I don't think I ever done meth. And uppers and stuff was not my thing. I was more on the downer train, opioids and whatnot. Uh, yeah, you could spot them a mile away too. The tweakers. We got one guy that comes in there on pretty regular basis, and he's always slapping himself in the face. Literally slaps himself in the face constantly. Like, dude, lay off. Yeah. Cynical Lindsay says weed is nothing. At least you can't OD from it. Yeah, right. I know. Right.
Yeah, it was like last night, I think. Yeah, last night we took her out for her last little potty break, and this lady was yelling into her phone about end this and end girl this and end with the abuse this and end with her kids that, and I'm like, let's hurry up a piece. We can go back inside. Can you hurry up a pee? Don't shop, just pee. We need to go inside as soon as possible because I don't need to be privy to whatever conversation's going on over here.
Oh, we had a woman like that in the shop yesterday. And the past few days of work's been hard for me because I'm training the new girl and I've been told to only shadow. I'm not supposed to do anything, which is hard for me because I'm the kind of person like, let me in there, I'll do it.
Mm-hmm.
But I've got a trainer and she's got to learn it. So I've got to force myself to stand back and just say, okay, do this and do that. And this is how you do that. And everything, and so my days have been a little bit long because I haven't been able to do anything but just watch her work, and which is rough for me. But got to do it. But and now I forgot what I was going to say. Oh, some woman that came in, and she was on her Bluetooth, just carrying on a conversation the whole time on her Bluetooth on her cell phone. And it was F this and F that, just as at the top of her lungs. She's in the middle of the shop, and of course, only adults are allowed in there, but still, I'm like, oh my God. And then as I'm listening, I find out she's talking to her mom. She's talking to her mother.
Wow.
And dropping F-bombs every other word. And she's almost in tears. Whatever's going on, it's this real big drama thing. And I'm like, and me and the girl I'm training is looking at each other like, we really don't need to hear your issues, lady.
Right.
Like, can you not?
Well, it's like when my son had this girl, was dating this girl. It was just, it's the only way I can explain it. Anyway, she decided to call me and try and yell at me because I didn't tell her where my son was. Like it's her fucking responsibility, And she made the mistake when I said, look, all I'm saying is every time he comes over here to visit me, 2 hours on the mark, you're either knocking on the door or that fucking phone is ringing with some kind of excuse to get him back over there. I said, he's my son. I'm going to spend time with him when I want to. She goes, well, you can spend time with him. I said, I don't need to ask you for permission, bitch. She got quiet, and my son and his two friends in the living room went, oop. After I got off the phone with her, I looked at him and I said, you do realize she is not gaining any points with me. He goes, yeah, she kind of fucked up there. I said, kind of? That's another
Yes, Icon says, I was born in Cali. I renounced the state. I'm ashamed to have been born there. Hey, ain't nothing you can do about where you were born. You had no control over it. None at all.
Florida.
I lived in California for about 6 months. Lived in Southern California. A little area in Southern California called Costa Mesa, and which its big claim to fame is it's just inland from Newport Beach, which is where all those movie stars have beachfront houses. So, yeah, I was there in the late 70s. It was an experience. Used to go down on the weekends and walk the beach behind all those houses where the movie stars and the rock stars and stuff were having their parties out on their beach home balconies,
Yeah.
because the houses are kind of up on stilts because they're on the beachfront. They don't want the ocean high tide. They don't want that to get it. So, Yeah, it was a different culture for sure. But yeah.
Yep.
So what
Yeah.
else?
Oh, go ahead. You finish.
No, I just said what else we got, ladies. We've got
You bring
40
something
minutes.
up, Maddie. You know.
Well, it's just I found something scrolling through Twitter that was utterly stupid, but then again, Biden said it, so that's no surprise.
Was he
Oh,
sniffing another girl?
well, no,
No, he wasn't sniffing anybody. It was just like a video clip where he introduces himself and his
it says
vote.
he's running for the Senate.
No, yeah, my name is Joe Biden. I'm a Democratic candidate for the United States Senate. If you don't like me, you can vote for the other Biden.
Yeah. I'm sorry, Joe, but you're running for president, bub.
Somebody should. He really, at this point, needs to go to a doctor and have his head checked.
Yeah, I think the signs are all there for early onset.
Yes.
And for his own health, for the love of God. Like, I mean, love or hate the guy, but like it's kind of mean.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And there's no shame in it. You know, it happens to all kinds of people. It happened to my dad. You know, heck, we were talking about Reagan earlier. It happened to Reagan.
Yep.
And we're pretty sure that he started suffering from it before he ended his second term for president.
Yeah.
You know, it happens. You know, so.
Yeah. Then there's, you have Mr. Sanders, who makes me want to pray to see if I can reach through the computer and smack a 78-year-old face. But he instituted literacy in Cuba, motherfucker. Can I please educate you? Please let me educate you. Please.
Oh, but I had a long talk with my mom about that. You know, it was just. I'd started off my morning talking about the shit that had gone on, and I kept that short because both of us were like, "Yeah, we understand it's shit." And then I was like, "You know what? Let's talk about other things." Yeah, well, like there's. I hope the Americans never ever vote for Bernie. And she's like, "What? Why?" And I'm like, "Because the guy is a freaking communist."
He is. Yeah. He is, and it just astounds me that he's like I'm like, that's the only thing you could find. That's the only that you do realize why he got to the point where Cuba is 99.7 literate, right? Because you can't fully indoctrinate somebody if they can't read.
Yeah, I know it. You know, everybody is well aware that I've kind of been MIA for a while because of my job mostly, and I'm just too tired even when I do get time.
Yeah.
When I get home, and I'll freely admit there were a couple of times where I was off on a stream day, but I was just so exhausted. I slept instead of streamed. You know.
Yeah.
And but also part of that, I was away from Twitter. I just didn't even feel like getting on Twitter and looking at it. I just didn't feel like doing anything but sitting and staring at the wall. I was so tired all the time.
Yeah.
And but one thing I did notice now that I've got not back on Twitter, but I have been looking at it lately, is James Woods is back on Twitter.
Yep.
Which it was good to see. He was gone for like what, a year?
Yep. Yep. I think most of that other part was voluntarily because it wasn't a permanent suspension that they gave him last time. He just said he was,
Yeah, the way he worded, I did go back on his timeline to see his first tweet back to see what he said, and it kind of sounded like it was partly voluntary, that he was just staying away from it.
Yeah.
Thank you, real quick. Thank you, Shio, for the donation over on Streamlabs. DMs will explain this joke. What does Steven Spielberg hit movie Jaws have in common with his porn star daughter? They both like to open wide and swallow in whole. And now that you mention it, I think that's a little bit of an old story, actually, that she was in adult movies. I do think I heard something about that, but it's been quite a while ago that I heard it.
Yeah. And then there was, I think, the lighthearted thing that went on the past couple of days was this little list where you retweet, and it was 10 games to know me, and I listed my 10 games. and there's like a theme with them.
Uh-huh.
Because it's like my 10 games that I did was Secret Weapons over Normandy, Star Wars TIE Fighter, Iron Wings, Star Wars The Old Republic, Lotro, Star Trek Online, Jade Empire, Star Wars Battlefront 1, Baldur's Gate, and Tetris. And I commented like, yeah, I like dogfighting games. Like,
Yeah. I used to have a pretty nice flight stick for my computer some years ago, and used to play a lot of flying games and so forth, but not so much anymore. I like more calm games where I can take my time and just and tinker.
yeah.
Just a time sink, just a time waste, just tinker. But I think that's why I like the Sims 3 so much, because I can pause it at any time and run it and tinker and do this and do that, and
I feel like your statement is implying that you want Sanders to be suicided, Pink. And I'm like, listen, I don't necessarily agree with the man's politics, but I don't necessarily want him to be suicided. He's kind of old. He's probably gonna die eventually anyway. Sorry, I had to joke that one.
But yeah. Politics, bleh. I like it. Just bleh. I'm interested enough that where I'm concerned. Of course, I want our country to have good government and so forth. But there are people, and I won't mention names, monkey, that just absolutely live, sleep, eat, breathe politics.
Yes, he does. Yeah.
I'm not.
Yeah. He admits that too.
Oh yeah. He freely admits it. And there's other people besides him, people on the other side, like Sophane, that it's all about the politics.
Yep.
Come on, guys. There's life outside of politics, right?
Yes, there is. There is. Absolutely there is.
I did find an article that I read this morning on my little coffee talk stream that had me and a bunch of other people groaning, and I saw Cynical Lindsay, I think, over here, so she might know what's coming. But the headline: a new Little Shop of Horrors remake ensnares Chris Evans.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, they're thinking about remaking Little Shop of Horrors.
This will be what, the second remake or third?
Well, it was originally a musical, and then they made it a movie musical, and then it was back on Broadway, and now they're trying to bring it back to the big screen again.
Well, it was originally a movie, an old, what was it, in the 60s? I think it was in the 60s it come out. Yeah, and then there was the remake that had, Rick
Moranis.
Yeah. That was out several years ago, and that was the remake. So this would be at least the second remake of the movie.
Mm-hmm. You're gonna have Scarlett Johansson as Audrey, Taron Egerton, who I have no clue who he is, as Seymour, and Chris is going to be the dentist.
Okay.
Somehow I can't see Chris Evans being the bloodthirsty dentist, but okay.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't understand, and I never. I mean, I kind of do, but I don't understand this whole remake shtick we've been in now for, well, it's years now.
Mm-hmm.
But I get it. They're hoping to cash in on the name, because it's usually a popular movie from the past or something that they're remaking. They're hoping to cash in on the name, but God, it just normally doesn't work. No. It does. Once in a while you'll get a remake that's good, but generally most of the time they suck.
Yeah. And it's like you had to me, you had lightning in a bottle with Rick Moranis and Steve Martin, with doing the parts that they did for the Little Shop of Horrors, because I mean, it wasn't a blockbuster. No, it wasn't a blockbuster, being realistic.
Well,
But
the original was more or less a cult movie, you know?
yeah, and this one was, I mean, this one was Rick and Steve became a cult classic too, to the point where people were trying to get it in the theaters for it to be another midnight movie like Rocky Horror Picture Show.
Yeah.
Because it lent it, let's face it, Little Shop of Horrors did kind of lend itself very well to being ridiculed.
Yeah. Speaking of, have any one of you or anybody out in chat ever actually went to a theater showing of Rocky Horror Picture Show?
Mm-hmm.
I have.
I have.
What an experience.
Oh yeah.
And I say that in the broadest term possible. Because there'll be times, if you do, that you'll be going, what in the heck am I doing here?
Yeah. Oh, I remember because I went there with my second husband and a friend of mine, and when they were up on stage and they asked if there were any virgins, my husband went to go look in my direction and said, if you look down at me, I'm going to punch you in your balls. He went, okay, I'm not going to point. Thank you. You're not embarrassing me.
Yeah.
I just want to sit here, listen to what's going on, see what the hubbub is. You're not getting me on stage. Just...
Yeah. Yeah, it's an experience because there are people that are almost addicted to that. You know, it's kind of like the people that still follow. And I just had the name and it just went right. The Grateful Dead. You know, it's almost like a cult thing.
Yeah.
And they go around from showing to showing and watch it, and they know every line and they know what to do at every instance, you know, because there'll be times in the movie that they're throwing things at the screen, and I'm like, oh my gosh, what the heck is going on? But, yeah. Try going to TOS's to a midnight showing on a military base. It was an experience. Now, my family and I, with the exception of my wife, because she hates the movie, which sucks for her because the rest of it love it. Whenever we sit down and watch Monty Python Search for the Holy Grail, it becomes an experience because all of us, me, and by all of us, I mean me and my 3 kids, all know every line by heart. And we'll take times quoting it to the TV back and forth, you know, and we'll have a drink or two, and it becomes a happening. And my wife goes off to the bedroom by herself because she hates that movie, and we absolutely love it.
Like I introduced my kid when he was about 13 or 14. I introduced him to the Holy Grail, Monty Python's Flying Circus, Mel Brooks' History of the World Part 1. By the time we got done with 3 skits from the Flying Circus, the Holy Grail, and History of the World Part 1, he was on the floor laughing, going, Mom, give me a break. My sides hurt too much.
Well, I introduced my kids to it very early on, to Search for the Holy Grail. I had a copy of it on VHS, and I was constantly watching it, you know, because I got a kick out of it. And to the point that J Kid, you know, who you know is my oldest kid, he's my only son, he's my oldest kid, was 3 years old and would go around at 3 years old and would go around telling people, she turned me into a newt. And then would pause, just like in the movie, and say, well, I got better. He's 3 years old going around quoting the movie. So yeah, that's how much we were into it. Good times. Yeah, my wife's not much for British humor at all.
I mean, it's not for everybody, but I mean, it's really hilarious to me. I mean,
yeah. Well, I come up even before that movie come out, you know, here where I live in the 70s on the public broadcasting station, they would show reruns of the Flying Circus on the PBS station, you know, back in the 70s. And that's how I found out about Doctor Who too, because they would replay a lot of British TV shows, all kinds of shows, dramas and comedies and stuff on the PBS station. You know, in the morning it was things like Sesame Street and Reading Rainbow and all that, and in the evening it was the British programming and things like Masterpiece Theater and stuff like that. But
Yep.
Yeah. My grandfather, I guess it was a publicist, but I was too young to pay attention to it. But my grandfather, when I went down to Miami for my summer break, he's the one that introduced me to Tom Baker, that Doctor Who. That was my first Doctor. He will forever have the number one spot of the Doctor in my heart because I just,
he is Doctor number 4, and he will absolutely always be my favorite.
Mhm.
And one of my favorite episodes was when what's his name? One of the more recent Doctors, David.
Tennant?
Yeah, it was an episode with him, I believe, and he was in some kind of museum, and they actually had Tom Baker play the part of this museum caretaker.
That was the 50th anniversary.
Which was absolutely awesome. And Fourth Doctor will always and forever be my favorite. I mentioned it's been a few weeks ago that I had been watching this TV show. It's a British show on Netflix where they repair old things, old antiques, and they refurbish them and so forth. And there was an episode where a guy brought in his old Doctor Who toys from the 70s.
Yeah.
In particular, there was these 2 Daleks that were supposed to talk and say, exterminate, exterminate, like they do. But they weren't talking anymore. Well, one of them talked, but it come out real garbled. Anyway, one of the toys I seen in there was a mechanical canine. And I was just like, oh my gosh, I want it. I want it. I want it. I want it. I want it.
Yeah.
I want that canine. And I'm sorry if y'all aren't old Doctor Who fans like I am, but you'll give me a break to gush over it for a minute. No, I don't know, TOS. I haven't watched Doctor Who in a while, since before the woman doctor just came in. And by the way, I don't have a problem with the new doctor being a woman just because she's a woman. I have a problem because apparently they're pushing their social justice.
Yep.
Because there is precedence for the Doctor being a woman in past lives. There's been hints at it. Even as far back as during Tom Baker's run, there were hints at the fact that he may have been a woman in a past iteration. So I don't have any problem with that at all. But yeah, I just love the Fourth Doctor's humor. The writing of the stories was just on par at that point. And it's not to say that the earlier Doctors or some of them after were bad. It's just his was the best. It was just absolutely just great. And Functional, you're an idiot. Sorry, but you're an idiot. Rowan Atkinson was the best Doctor. Are you kidding me?
Hi, Functional. Just saying.
Pertwee, who was the third Doctor, actually wasn't bad.
Nope.
And he's the first one I started watching. When I first started watching the Doctor, it was Pertwee.
Yeah. Pertwee was good. And then they had, he had a bad habit of nicking stuff from the set and driving the car home.
Yeah. But when they brought on Tom Baker, I was just enthralled and would not miss an episode. Romana, I liked Romana. She was fine as a companion. Yeah. Hugh Laurie was the best Doctor.
Now we're being trolled. Sarah Jane Smith will always have a place in my opinion.
Deck Train says Alfred Pennypenny from Gotham. Wrong Pertwee, but you're close. That's his son.
Yeah.
Might be a little known fact. The actor that plays Alfred on Gotham is the son of the fellow that played the Doctor.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah. which when I first found that out, what I thought was I'd seen his name in the credits. I said, Pertwee. I wonder if he's related to the. And yeah, it's his son. Looked it up. On the humanoid Adric. I don't remember Adric.
Adric, I think, was the fifth Doctor, one of the fifth Doctor's companions. He was the genius kid.
Oh, yeah. Well, see, I kind of lost interest and quit watching. Not the fifth Doctor, but the one after that.
Yeah,
I thought was just terrible. The sixth Doctor was just awful, and he is one of the ones that most people pick on as just being awful.
Yeah, I mean, it's not his fault because at that point in the series, they were trying to find a reason to stop airing Doctor Who. So,
Yeah.
The writing, the costuming, and everything just did Colin Baker no favors whatsoever.
Yeah, his costume was awful. The writing was awful. He was unlikable. It was just terrible, and it lost me at that point. And I never watched Doctor Who again until David Tennant was the Doctor by the time I started watching it again. So
Eggleston wasn't bad, but Eggleston bumped heads with the producers and stuff of the show, and then he just kind of
celery man. He had a stick of celery pinned to his like a boutonniere to his.
Yeah,
that's him.
Yep.
Yeah. Congratulations on streaming for 100 minutes.
Yeah, the fifth Doctor was the one with the celery stick. The sixth Doctor was Colin Baker.
Yeah. Yeah. I wasn't a real big fan of the fifth one. But I think that's unfair to him because he wasn't that bad. It was just that I was such a fan of Tom Baker. I hated to see him go. And it was so hard to replace Tom.
Yeah, and then after Peter Davison, they saddled us with, the caricature. That's what I've always called it. The caricature of the Doctor with the sixth one, where they just did Colin Baker dirty because the writing was horrible, and my God, that multicolored coat, and then the companions they saddled him with were just as annoying. I'm like, I can't watch this.
But I just, it was probably unfair to the fifth Doctor because I was just such a fan of Tom Baker that it was probably unfair to him because he wasn't that bad. He really was not. But you didn't know you were going to tune in, folks, and get a Doctor Who stream, huh? Well, I've always said it before. You never know what you're going to get on this stream. It's like a box of chocolates. Whatever comes up, we'll talk about it.
Yep.
Whatever comes up, we'll talk about it. Shio's bored. Sorry, Shio. Suck it up and get over it. Stick around. We'll get around to something that interests you because it'll change. It'll change.
Yeah, I like the thing that's circulating around Twitter that said, "You've been kidnapped. Your kidnappers allow you to keep posting on social media to pretend everything is all right. What would you post that would alarm your followers without the kidnappers knowing that you're asking for help?" And I always respond with, "I gave up coffee." That would be definitely a warning sign.
If I ever uttered those words in earshot of anyone in my family, my wife, my kids, my siblings, anybody, they ever heard me say I gave up coffee, they're going to run for the hills. I'm telling you, they're going to run for the hills. Gulf City says, I don't know what Doctor Who is. Well, then you've not been initiated.
Nope.
I would actually, if possible, and it used to be able to get them on Netflix, but Netflix doesn't carry it anymore. If you're going to get into Doctor Who for the first time, I would absolutely recommend going back to the old Doctor Who. At least as far back as Tom Baker, if not as far back as Pertwee.
Yes.
And really find out what Doctor Who was supposed to be about.
Yeah. Because in the first and second Doctors, because Pertwee was the third, the first and second Doctors, they're never going to have full seasons for, because it was so small a budget that they were giving for this show that in order for them to save money on film, they would tape over existing.
Yeah, that was back in the early days of videotape. And then it had happened with a lot of shows, happened with a lot of American shows. Some of the early episodes are not there because they would retape over the episodes. And if someone did not have the foresight to save a copy, they're just lost forever.
Yep.
So, happened a lot in those days. They just didn't have the foresight to see that people are going to be interested in seeing this in the future, down the road. I tell you what, to slightly change the subject, but we're still talking about TV shows.
Sorry, I'm just giggling because I put my pop on the balcony for a few seconds because I was like, you know what, this is too warm and I want to cool it off. And I come back to it, I'm like, oh, you're kind of a little slushy.
Oops.
It's great.
Yeah, my wife had bought a few 6-packs. She tries to catch Mountain Dew on sale at the grocery store, and she'll stock me up. And it'll last me forever because I try to stay to only one bottle a day. I try to keep myself to just one bottle of Mountain Dew a day because it's really not good for you. Mm-hmm. It's heck on your teeth and other reasons it's not good for you. But I love my Mountain Dew. But she'll buy it up. And so anyway, she had stopped and bought some because it was on sale and forgot to bring it in, left it out in her car. Fortunately, it wasn't cold enough to really freeze because that could be
a
mess.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
But one of the shows I really liked as a kid, and I would dearly love to have copies of on DVD now, is the old Wild Wild West. I absolutely adored that show. Now it's probably a little too old for you two, but oh my gosh. If you've never heard of it and you've never watched it, just think James Bond in the Old West. It's absolutely loved that show as a kid. Still would watch it now if I could find it somewhere. I'm not sure what that's at TOS. My wife would just shoot me out of self-defense. I probably forgot what it was we said that would spur that comment. Giving up coffee. Oh, yeah, your wife. Okay, I got it now. It takes me a minute. But I'll get there. I'll get there. I've seen the movie, but a lot of other people don't. That movie, you're talking about the one with Will Smith, that's not Wild Wild West. He is not James West. I'm sorry. That movie should have never been made. I love Will Smith, but dadgummit, that's not Wild Wild West. And I'll fight you. And yes, TOS Robert Conrad was great as James West. He absolutely was one of his best roles ever. Next to Baba Black Sheep as Pappy Boyington. Another old TV show you two have probably never heard of. Pappy Boyington was a real life character. He was a World War II Marine pilot who commanded a squadron of misfits, people that nobody else wanted. And they had a very high kill count in the Pacific Theater. So, and they made a TV series about it back in the 70s. According to Trump, no Americans are dying from the coronavirus. I don't know. Are they?
That's not what he said. He said he doesn't think it's as bad as people are making it out to be. But there are 53 cases in the U.S.
Yeah. Like I said earlier, I'm the kind of person, I'm not going to get real excited about it, and worried, and germophobic and everything, until it gets close to me. And then I probably won't Because I'm just like, if it's going to get here, it's going to get here, and nothing anybody does is going to stop it.
Mm-hmm.
I don't care, all the experts and all the people, the WPO and all that stuff. They can't stop it. If it gets here, it gets here. So why worry? Kind of like Mad Magazine. Alfred E. Newman. What, me worry? Why worry about it?
It's is it spreading? Yeah, because it wasn't contained as it should have when they first found it. However, you can't sit there and live your life in fear of something
Yeah.
like that. I mean, it's okay. Is it a virus? Yes. Does it spread? Yes. Does it have the capability of killing people? Yes. But should you overreact, barricade yourself in your house, and stockpile Lysol? I don't think so.
I said the WPO earlier. I didn't add the WHO, the World Health Organization, and the CDC, and all those people that have to do with that. They can't stop it, and they know they can't. I will say this: I doubt very seriously that this did not start in some Chinese lab somewhere.
Oh,
I will guarantee it. And now the world is paying. One interesting side note, though, of an effect that it's having is the Olympics. I don't know if you all seen that. There is a possibility that the Olympics this year will be canceled.
Yep, I saw that.
It's supposed to be where? Tokyo?
Mm-hmm.
And so, yeah, because of the coronavirus threat.
That's actually understandable.
Yeah.
That's understandable, especially in Tokyo.
Now, there is precedent. It has been canceled before. During World War II, it was canceled and so forth. But,
Yeah, I mean, I'd feel bad for them, but yeah, I wouldn't. Because that Tokyo is huge.
Yeah.
Yeah, let's just not play with a large number of people that are in a condensed city.
Right?
Yeah, I'm kind of a mixed feelings. Yeah, I get that. It would be a dumb idea, maybe, and especially since Tokyo is in the Pacific or in Eastern Asia. But also, you feel bad for the people that's trained all their lives, just to compete in the Olympics. So
yeah. I mean, I understand that too, but at the same time, though, I'm like, lots and lots of people live there.
Yeah,
it's just not worth. It's not worth it, and then it's not worth spreading it more. And yeah, don't freak out over it. I am still like of the mind of treat it like a scary cold. Yeah, but treat it like a cold.
Oh, I see people on Twitter freaking out all over the place talking about it and everything. I'm like, yeah, well, it's bad, it's nasty, but I'm not going to get my panties in a bunch until it gets here. And then I'll worry about it. And then I'll probably not be one of the people running around with a mask on my face.
Now, for me, if I'm stocking up on food, it's not because I'm afraid of the coronavirus. It's more that I'm afraid of more blockades for our trains and the cutting back of things on the shelf because our goods aren't going back and forth. And that's actually a genuine fear because, I mean, yes, we have truckers and they're great, but that means there's going to be some things missing on the shelf. And that's kind of a pain in the ass. So like, if you like something and you know that it's probably not something we make, stock on it.
Yeah.
If you can get it on sale, stock on it.
Yeah, why not?
That's just foresight. That.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'm just not the kind of person. It's just not my nature to get excited about such things and worried and, oh my God, there's a virus in the world and it's killing a lot of people. Oh my God, what are we going to do? It's the end of the world. Yeah, probably not. It's got a high enough kill ratio, but I think it's only like 3%. If I'm not wrong, I could be wrong on that, but I'm not going to be too far wrong. which is bad enough. You don't want to see anybody die. But this is not a world-ending situation we have here, folks. Yeah. Cynical Lindsay says, I just think back to all the hysteria surrounding SARS, H1N1, bird flu, Zika, and Ebola, and they all turned out to be nothing. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. I mean, it's just panicking is the way you the way you approach it is going to be, the way that obviously you're going to handle it. If you panic and run around like a chicken with your head cut off and act like the biggest hypochondriac that ever walked on the face of the earth, you're going to be too scared to even touch your doorknob when you wake up every morning.
Oh, yeah.
You can't let it stop you dead in your tracks. And I mean, all these people that walk around with these surgical masks on, it's like, I'm sorry, but do you realize that really isn't doing anything?
And here's the truth of the matter. And like I said, I firmly believe that this coronavirus was created in a lab, regardless of their denial. I'll lay bets on it.
Oh, yeah.
But even if it wasn't, the world has a way that every so often, when the population gets a little bit too heavy, something will come out like the plague to thin the herd. And it just happens. Yeah. It happens.
Yeah, I think a lot of my outrage is more about like knowing that it's China and how it's coming out of China. And if you complain about China, I'm more concerned about their citizens, because they're not exactly, I don't trust how they handle things at all, because they're really shitty to their people. So if I'm thinking about concern, it's more of just like, I do not doubt there are legit people in China right now who are, really shitty situations. So like that's where my mind goes when I think about the coronavirus. So I don't want to necessarily, that's why I don't want to overhype it, know?
Cynical Lindsay says surgical masks won't do crap. And you're right. The only way to be 100% sure is to have one of them full body suits, like you see the CDC wear when they go in places. And even that's not 100% if you get a little tear in it. So I'm not going to panic, even if it gets here. I'm not going to panic. It is what it is. And if I'm not going to go out of my way to expose myself to somebody that I know has it. Right. I'm not going to be that stupid, but I'm not going to walk around the street wondering, oh my God, I wonder if they got it. Or did they got it? Oh my God. Ah!
Yeah. Yeah, that's basically it. I mean, that's how I feel about it. And that's why I was really resentful with the media pushing that narrative that like, oh, the Canadians are scared of the Asians, because they all have the coronavirus, and I'm bringing out the Canadian as a slur because I'm joking, but like it's just it's so degrading to have them say stuff like that, and you're just like, most of my friends growing up were Asian of some kind or another. I am not afraid of Chinese people. Okay, if anything, if you're wearing a mask, I'm going to be confused. I'm going to be like, well, for one thing, I don't know if you're sick, because if you are wearing one, the only thing that it's effective for is helping to keep you from spreading anything. Yeah. And even then, it's a specific kind of mask. Yeah. So I don't know. Yeah. But if it's just one of those little round plastic things that they give you at the doctor's office, honestly, that doesn't do shit.
Yeah. No. I have a cousin whose wife has had cancer. And she's required to wear one of those surgical masks. I mean, it's a legit surgical mask when she's out in public, because her body can't take it anymore. She's lost her immune system due to the chemo.
Yeah.
And so, I get that. I get it, but
Yeah, it's but like I said, for that situation, I'm not going to sit there and be like, first, I'm not going to assume that you have coronavirus, because I don't know. I don't know. All I have are like pictures online, and I don't trust my media, so the stuff that they share, I don't know. I'm not going to just assume somebody's got that. I'm just going to assume you're sick. So if I'm sidelining you, it's because I don't want to get sick.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Lindsay's right. It's not racist. I mean, it just makes
Mhm.
sense that if there's a virus out there that is killing some people and is a very nasty virus and spreading quickly, that you're going to cut off the part of the population that it's coming from.
Yeah.
That just makes sense. That's not being overcautious or racist or anything. That's just doing what you can to help stop the spread.
And two, also, once you
Mhm.
realize you have a highly communicable disease that travels fast, you're going to shut down airports. You're going to stop travel from the point of origin once they find at least a ground zero if they can't find patient zero. It's these things always have a ground zero, and as soon as it was China this time. It was the Wuhan province or Hubei province, and it's like, okay, we're not accepting flights from that part of the world. That
Right.
has nothing to do with racism. That has everything to do with quarantining a particular part of the world where ground zero is at the moment. It's got nothing to do with the fact that we're anti-Asian and everything to do with the fact that we're anti-pandemic. There's a difference.
And
Yeah.
that's just it. I would rather contain it and show support if I can, but the Chinese government is fucked up. So like I can't rely on that.
Nope.
So let's be real. We are out of luck when it comes to helping these people, other than
Yeah.
wishing them luck.
And at this point, though, I have to point out that we are at the end of the stream. Wouldn't you know, we
Oh.
really get off and running on something when it's time to end.
Yeah.
Just the way that it goes.
Mhm.
But man, that 2 hours went fast. Thank you, chat, and all the people out there for coming out and giving a listen and your likes, and yeah, even the dislikes. I don't care. I love y'all, and for those that were able to donate, I've said it before, and I'll keep saying it. This channel's really yours. I just run it. I'm very grateful to you guys. Thank you, Jen, for coming on such short notice. Is there
Thank
anything
you
you
for
want to shout
having
out?
me.
No problem. Anything you want to shout out?
Nothing actually. I'm not sure what's going on, so I might be doing more streams this week. I'm not sure when I'm gonna plan those out, but we had a little hiatus, so.
And I did see your DM, by the way. I didn't
Yeah.
answer it because it was like a couple of days late by the time I spotted it.
Oh, that's okay. I just figured you were. I kind of had this feeling that like what was going on was what was going on, because
Yeah.
it's that time of year for a lot of places, and retail, regardless of what store it's from, there's always a cycle of like some people come in and some people go, and
Yeah.
but it was just I hadn't seen you in a while, so it was just like, well, maybe he's come home, maybe he's got a date, I don't know, but like, just even for a short like hour.
Yeah,
or
it just
something.
basically boiled down to me being old and tired. That's what it is.
Yeah, it's never any offense if you don't want to do something. It's more of
Matt,
just.
Yeah, Maddie, thank you for coming on. Anything you want to shout out?
Yes. Now that my main channel that I am in your chat in is fully functional again, yay, YouTube fix something, knocked me over with it. On Tuesdays and Thursday mornings at 11 Central Standard Time. It's not the morning brew, but it is called Coffee Talk. We do the government dump, and we review some current events. So
There you go.
Twice a week now.
Now, as for me, there will not be a stream Thursday and Saturday because I have to work both days. I have not seen next week's schedule yet, so I'm not sure when I'll be scheduled. Based on what's happened in the past, whenever I work the weekends, I'll be off Monday and have to work Tuesday, so there probably won't be a Tuesday stream. What I am thinking about doing, though, since I'm having to work so much and so often on my stream days, of just streaming whenever I can, regardless of what day it is. So I be on the lookout for that. I would rather be on a schedule because that's the kind of person I am. I like being on a schedule and sticking to that schedule as best I can, which I've been very bad at lately.
Yeah.
Not my fault. But I'm thinking about it. So be on the lookout for that. And hopefully my schedule will free up enough that I can get out another episode of Redneck Trek. So I haven't forgot it. It's still on my mind. And I've got some ideas for the next episode. I just got to find time to do it. So.
There's one more thing.
Uh-huh.
Saturdays at 11 Central, I brought back old time radio Saturdays. And this Saturday, we're going to be going through old time radio sci fi shows.
There you go. I love those old radio shows, actually. But anyway, we're a good 4 minutes past because we were having a good time talking. But all good things have to come to an end, and the same's true for this stream. So until next time, get out of my yard.
Bye.
Bye.